बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. We welcome all the devotees to the Sunday morning class. We'll discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter number 13, entitled The Appearance of Lord Varaha, shloka number 26 for discussion today. Kindly repeat after me. Tesham satam veda vitana murtir Brahma vadharyatma gunanuvadam Vinadya bhuyo vibudhodayaya Gajendra lilo jalama vivesha Tesham satam veda vitana murti Brahma vadharyatma gunanuvadam Vinadya bhuyo vibudhodayaya Gajendra lilo jalama vivesha Tesham satam veda vitana murti Brahma vadharyatma gunanuvadam Vinadya bhuyo vibudhodayaya Gajendra lilo jalama vivesha Brahmavadharyatmagunanuvadam Vinatya bhuyo vibudodayaya Gajendra Leela Jalama Vivesha Vitana Murti Haryatma Gunanuvadam Jalama Vivesha Mataji's Tesham Satam Veda Vitana Murtir Brahmavadharyatma Gunanuvadam Vinatya Vibhudodayaya Tesham Satam Veda Vitana Murtir Brahmavadharyatma Gunanuvadam Vinadya Bhuyo Vibudhodayaya Gajendra Lilo Jalama Vivesha. We'll read word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Kindly repeat after me. Tesham, of them. Satam, of the great devotees. Veda, all knowledge. Vitanamurti, the form of expansion. Brahma, Vedic sound. Avadharya, knowing it well. Atma, of himself. Gunanuvadam, transcendental glorification. Vinadya, resounding. Bhuyah, again. Vibudha, of the transcendentally learned. Udayaya, for the elevation or benefit. Gajendra Leela, playing like an elephant. Jalam, water. Avivesha, entered. Translation. Playing like an elephant, he entered into the water after roaring again in reply to the Vedic prayers by the great devotees. The Lord is the object of the Vedic prayers, and thus he understood that the devotees' prayers were meant for him. Purport. The form of the Lord in any shape is always transcendental and full of knowledge and mercy. The Lord is the destroyer of all material contamination because his form is personified Vedic knowledge. All the Vedas worship the transcendental form of the Lord. In the Vedic mantras, the devotees request the Lord to remove the glaring effulgence because it covers his real face. That is the version of the Ishopanishad. The Lord has no material form, but his form is always understood in terms of the Vedas. The Vedas are said to be the breath of the Lord, and that breath was inhaled by Brahma, the original student of the Vedas. The breathing from the nostril of Brahma caused the appearance of Lord Boar, and therefore the Boar incarnation of the Lord is the personified Vedas. The glorification of the incarnation by the sages on the higher planets consisted of factual Vedic hymns. Whenever there is glorification of the Lord, it is to be understood that Vedic mantras are being rightly vibrated. The Lord was therefore pleased when such Vedic mantras were chanted, and to encourage his pure devotees, he rode once more and entered the water to rescue the submerged earth. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी देव वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, I seek the blessings of all the senior devotees assembled here and all of you who have come here. We are reading in the purport today that whenever there is glorification of the Lord, it is to be understood that Vedic mantras are being rightly vibrated. So in another 2 days, we are having the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And although the chanting that he introduced may not be exactly Vedic mantras in the sense of being quoted in some Upanishad or something like that, but the glorification of the holy names that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned is actually the most deepest, the most intimate, and the most pleasing glorification of the Supreme Lord. And yes, in Kali Santaran Upanishad, it really mentions, Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmashanashanam Nato Parataro Upayo Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So it does mention that this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, consisting of 16 words, Nato Parataro Upayo, there is no greater means of crossing over the ills of Kali Yuga. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate, in all the Vedas. So to celebrate Sri Gaur Purnima, we'll speak on the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And specifically, we are going to highlight how a great devotee of the Lord, King Prataparudra, what challenges he faced while receiving the mercy of the Lord, and what lessons can we learn in our lives from the interaction between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prataparudra Maharaj. So kindly bless me that we can properly glorify somebody like Prataparudra Maharaj and how he received mercy, how he struggled to receive mercy in spite of so many reversals. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted sannyas in the month of Magha. Shukla Paksha Sankranti is the day when he accepted sannyas. Then in the beginning of Falgun, he moved to Puri. He reached Puri, and Falgun Purnima is basically Gaur Purnima, but obviously he did not celebrate Gaur Purnima. So that festival is called Dola Purnima. In Jagannath Puri on Holy Day, there's a big festival. So he observed the festivities of Dola Purnima. In the month of Chaitra, after that, the deliverance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya took place. And then in the month of Vaishak, in the beginning, he expressed a desire to all the devotees in Puri that I lost my brother. I haven't known where he is in my early days. So I want to search for Vishwarup. I want to search for my brother. So kindly give me permission to go to South India. And this is just 4 months. He has reached Jagannath Puri. And obviously all the devotees were devastated because traveling in those days meant risk, no assurance that of safety, basically. Especially in those times, India, as we know it today, is one country, so one law. But in those days, Bharatavarsha was fragmented into many kingdoms. Some of them were ruled by rulers who believed in the Vedas. Some of them did not believe in the Vedas. Some of them were against the Vedas. So when a sannyasi travels, today we feel, oh, he just traveled like this. But then he's crossing many borders. He's entering many uncharted lands. And we don't know how people will behave with a sannyasi. So there's a lot of danger there. Also at a personal level, all of them were in love with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they didn't want him to leave. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and he said, we'll discuss this. First you come to my home. And for 5 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because he's just now received mercy from Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he served Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very nicely and he understood that he's not going to let go. So then finally he relented. But he mentioned, I have one request for you. When you go to South India, in the place where the Godavari river meets the Bay of Bengal, there's a very nice devotee who stays there. Apparently, he is the governor of the place. So you may feel that he is one of those kingly people, but actually he is a great devotee of the Lord. And my only request is, please meet him. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya mentions, actually, he was previously in Puri. And the king of Puri has put him there as a representative. So when he was here, sometimes he would discuss with me about Krishna. And I used to laugh on him because this is before meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is a logician. He is reading the different scriptures and is trying to come up with his own thesis. What is the goal of life? He is not really accepting the scriptures as it is, but he has his own tarka. So based on that, when Ramananda Ray would chant the holy names, would speak about Krishna in a very affectionate way, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya mentions to Lord Chaitanya, I would laugh on him, saying, he literally mentions like that, Upahasa kori Vaishnava boliya. So there are some people in this world who think Vaishnavism is all about chanting and dancing and singing nice bhajans, Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. This is not the goal of life. This singing, dancing and jumping is not the goal of life. The goal of life is to become at least materially very powerful. If somebody is really detached, he's not attached to matter, then at least you should be on the Jnana platform. You should be highly detached from this world. So either materially attached and become materially powerful, or you become some kind of a virakta, sannyasi. But this singing and glorifying the Lord, this is not the goal of life. So in that mood, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya at one point of time had laughed on Ramananda Ray. But after meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he understood what is the meaning of devotional service, what is the meaning of becoming a servant. There are many things to speak about this, but some of us feel the highest position in this world is to become the local MLA. Sometimes somebody may feel the MP. Some of us may feel the chief minister of the state in which we are staying. Somebody beyond that may say the prime minister of this country. Somebody may say not even the prime minister of this country. The most powerful person on this planet is the president of one country. But beyond that, those who believe in the Vedas, they may say, I want to become some devata. But beyond all these, yes, it is mentioned actually the highest position that one can get is to become a servant of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. Because tattva-wise, the most powerful person is the Supreme Lord. That everything emanates from him. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So we may know of a ruler of one planet, but Krishna is saying, I am the ruler of all the planets. There's a very sweet discussion going on between rishis and munis. So one Rishi says, the most powerful person is actually the wind. Because when the wind blows, then nothing can come in between. It can just sweep big trees also. Then another Rishi Muni, he says, actually the most powerful thing is a mountain. Why? Because the mountain can stop the raging wind. Then another Rishi Muni, they're all big, intelligent people. He says, but this mountain is standing on the earth. So the earth is more powerful than the mountain. So the earth is more powerful. Then another Rishi Muni was sitting there, he says, and this earth had submerged into the waters. And Lord Varahadev, he took out the earth. So Lord Varaha is the greatest. The Supreme Lord Vishnu is the greatest. And another person was sitting there. This Lord Vishnu is captured in the heart of a Vaishnava. So the Vaishnava is the greatest. So the highest position that one can get is to become a servant of Sri Krishna. Why? Because the Supreme Lord, by his nature, tattva-wise, he is very powerful. Siddhanta-wise, he is very powerful. But by rasa, because he is a person, he is not a machine. If somebody serves him sincerely, then one can capture the Supreme Lord in his own heart. So from that perspective, Sri Sarvam Bhattacharya, he understood the difference. And then he's revealing his heart to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At one point of time, I mistakenly laughed on him, but I am sure you will enjoy his company. So please do meet him. And yes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his journey, he meets Ramananda Ray. They have such deep discussions that basically, that whole chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu keeps on asking different questions. Who is the highest person? What is the highest words? What is the best song? What is the highest meditation? What is the highest name? The answer to all these questions is basically Radha Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu keeps on asking questions. In the previous incarnation, Arjun kept asking questions to Krishna. And Krishna elevated his understanding right from the basics that you are not the body, your spirit, soul, to whatever you do it for Krishna. And at the end, he took it to Sarva Dharman Parityajya. So he brought Arjun to that level. Now in the next incarnation, that same Krishna wants to test the same Arjun. Did you understand properly? In the Gita also, Krishna asks, Kachid etat shrutam partha tvaya ekagrena chetasa Kachid ajnana samuham pranishtaste dhananjaya. Oh Arjun, did you understand the Gita properly? Do you want me to repeat the Gita? So that same Krishna, when he appears as Lord Chaitanya, he's asking the same Arjun, what is the most highest achievable object in life? And then he mentions Radha Krishna. What is the highest song? Radha Krishna. What is the goal of life? What is the highest name? Radha Krishna. Right? So the answer stays the same, but the questions keep on changing. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at one point of time says, I have never ever heard anybody go such deep. So please tell me more, please tell me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is completely touched by the devotional wisdom and the depth of affection that Sri Ramananda Ray has. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invites Ramananda Ray. I stay in Puri. So I'm requesting you, a person like you should not waste his life in politics. You are the governor here, but you deserve much more than that. Please come there. And I would want to have your association and let us discuss Bhagavatam more and more. And Ramananda Ray also is affected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He agrees. Then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he moves south, Kanyakumari. Then he comes on the western coast. He goes till Narmada river. And then he ends his yatra there. And then he follows the Narmada river. And then at one point of time, he again goes to Vidyanagar, where Ramananda Ray is staying. This is the second time he's meeting Ramananda Ray, and this time he says, so I mentioned to you that you need to come with me to Puri and we need to sit and we need to discuss devotional conclusions. So what happened regarding that? Please come with me. I have come to take you. And Ramananda Ray says, actually I wrote a letter. Not that I disregarded your request. I already wrote a letter to the king, Prataparudra, and he has already sanctioned. But I cannot come with you. Maybe I'll take 6-7 days more, maybe 10 days more, but you go ahead and I'll follow you. Why? Because I'm a king, so I'll come in a royal way. There will be elephants, there will be music and this and that, and it won't look good for you. So the request has been sanctioned, you please move ahead, and I'll come. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accepting that, then along the east coast, he goes up to Puri. So when he meets Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he brings back that topic and he says, I met so many people in my South India Yatra. Some of them were followers of this philosophy, some of them were followers of that philosophy. Sometimes I met some atheists also. None of what they spoke was faultless. What does it mean? None of what they spoke is faultless means they had some fault. Somewhere something had some fault. But he said, in my whole journey, the best thing about my journey was I met Ramananda Ray. I haven't met anybody like Ramananda Ray. And then he tells Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's just like you. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was some years back, 2 years back, he was an ordinary person. But that is how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feels about his devotee. He's saying, but there's nobody like him and he's just like you. So I'll take you to a flashback. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left for South India Yatra, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is staying back in Puri. The king, Prataparudra, he would stay in Cuttack. So today also, those who know Odisha, Bhubaneswar is a big city near Puri, and 1 hour from Bhubaneswar is Puri, and maybe 1.5 hours before Bhubaneswar is Cuttack. So Cuttack is the capital where the king stayed. Bhubaneswar and Puri is not the place where the king stayed. But the king in Cuttack heard there is some great personality who has come to Jagannath Puri. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the Raj Guru, he's the guru of the king. And he's a big Pandit. He's an incarnation of Brihaspati in Chaitanya Leela. So the king had a lot of respect for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And the king sitting in Cuttack got to know that this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was converted by this sannyasi. So he got attracted to him. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left for South India Yatra, and now this Yatra will take almost 2 years. But immediately after Lord left, the king did not know that the Lord has left. And the king came to meet Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and he said, I heard that some great personality from Bengal has come to Jagannath Puri. And I also heard that he has done you a great favor and you have taken a lot of blessings from him. Can you please do me one small thing, that can you please make me meet him? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, it's a very nice proposal, but only one problem, that great personality has left from Puri. And Prataparudra Maharaj, after hearing so much, he has so much anticipation, and he hears that so he says, why did you allow him to leave? You got touched by him, so why did you allow him to leave? Then he says, actually Vaishnavas, he's a Vaishnava, and Vaishnavas means they keep traveling all over the world to different places to purify those places. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani swantahastena gadabhrita. But by the way, let me also tell you, this person is not even a Vaishnava. Actually, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Lord cannot be stopped by anybody. He is fully independent, so I did not have any power to stop him. And look at Prataparudra Maharaj, he says, Raja kahe bhatta tumi vigya shiromani, tumi tare Krishna kahe tate satyamani. Till now, the king had heard that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a great personality. He was a sannyasi. And this is the first time Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, he's not even a great sannyasi. Actually, he's the Supreme Lord. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya happens to be the guru of Prataparudra Maharaj. And Prataparudra Maharaj says, because you are such a learned person and you are calling him Krishna, tate satyamani. Yes, I also accept that he is Krishna. So this is the kind of faith and this is the kind of simple-hearted nature that the King Prataparudra had. Now, usually in our lives, when we hear about a simple person, simple-hearted person, a humble person, we sometimes have doubts about his valor, about his power, about his intelligence. Are to a simple admi hai, right? Let me just give you a historical context. We hear about Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. They were Home Minister and Finance Minister in the government of Nawab Hussain Shah. So Nawab Hussain Shah is from outside the country, and he came here and he's ruling Bengal. And Bengal and Orissa are next to each other. So throughout his life, Nawab Hussain Shah remaining the emperor of Bengal, could never ever enter Odisha. Why he was not able to enter Odisha? One of the reasons why Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, when they meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they mention that they are disqualified to receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. They said, Go Brahmana Drohi Sange Amara Sangam. What did Nawab Hussain Shah do his whole life? Go Brahmana Drohi. He would kill the cows. He would kill the Brahmanas. He would destroy temples. And Rupa and Sanatan, they mention, we were his ministers. So we are not qualified to receive your mercy, but still, if possible, please give me your mercy. So Nawab Hussain Shah is somebody who destroyed temples, kill cows, kill Brahmanas, such a powerful person. How did Rupa and Sanatan, Amar and Santosh, in their previous ashram, how did they happen? They are so pure. How did they happen to serve somebody like Go Brahmana Drohi? It is mentioned, not in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but it is mentioned in the biographies, how Nawab Hussain Shah found out that these two brothers, they are very intelligent. And if he wants to do his, Vishayi life, he wants to enjoy matter, he wants to enjoy his life, then he cannot be engaged in wars, he cannot be engaged in governmental affairs. So he needed two trustworthy people to hand over the government control. So then he called these two brothers and he said, you both are very intelligent and you both need to serve me. So they said, of course not. We are not going to serve somebody like you. He said, if you don't serve me, all these villages around you, they will be burnt. The villages will be burnt, the cattle will be burnt, the people will be burnt. And who is responsible? You two are responsible. So now you consider what is to be done. So out of a fear of burning cattle, out of a fear of destroying temples, out of fear of burning the villages, Amar and Santosh, they agreed to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the power of Nawab Hussain Shah. But this Nawab Hussain Shah could never enter Odisha. Why not? Because Prataparudra Maharaj was actually Pratap. He was actually brave. He was actually somebody who maintained the whole land pure. And we see how, he's such a brave person, but at his heart, just because his guru is saying, this sannyasi is not just a Vaishnava sannyasi, he is Krishna, he accepts it. And then he says, is there any chance that I can meet him? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returns, whenever he returns, I'll do the needful. Then, because the Lord has gone, all the devotees in Jagannath Puri, they become anxious, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions that when the anxiousness of the devotees in Puri reached a peak, when they were really eager for darshan of the Supreme Lord, that is the time when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Puri. So we think Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just did his yatra, but Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says it is linked to the anxiousness of the devotees in Puri. And when they became anxious, then the Lord returned to Jagannath Puri. So at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He introduced different sevaks of the Lord. There was a person called Janardhan. Janardhan was somebody who, when the body of the Lord changes after every 12 years, Navakalevaram, then Janardhan would change the body of the Lord. So he says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is Janardhan. There's another devotee called Krishnadas. He would hold the golden staff, the golden rod of Lord Jagannath. So all the Puri devotees, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is introducing them one by one. And in that place, one person comes, his name is Bhavananda Ray. Bhavananda Ray is Pandu in Chaitanya Leela. So he comes with his 4 sons. The 5th son is Ramananda Ray, who's yet to come to Puri. So he brings his 4 sons and he says, actually I'm a Vishayi, I'm an enjoyer, because they are from royal family. They happen to be the governor and all that. But I wish that you shower your mercy on me. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, actually you are Pandu and your 5 sons are the representatives of the 5 Pandavas. And you are my servant life after life. And he blesses Bhavananda Ray. And the 4 sons of Bhavananda Ray who are there present in Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu puts his lotus feet on their head. And then Bhavananda Ray says, me, my riches, my home, my servants, my family, my sons, all I surrender at your lotus feet. Anytime you need something, you please tell me. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I just need one favor from you. Your son Vaninath, Please keep him with me. I'll give him some seva. So why I'm mentioning all these details? Because they're connected. We'll see very soon how Prataparudra Maharaj, he happens to be from the royal family. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just based on that position of Prataparudra Maharaj, he declines again and again to meet him. But why I'm mentioning all this detail? Bhavanand Rai also is from a royal family. And Vaninath, his son, is also from that family. And when he offers everything to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya says, yes, he can be here. And Vaninath, he stayed with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for services. So that will help us to understand the situation in which Prataparudra Maharaj is struggling. That's why I'm mentioning all these details. So after some time, Paramananda Puri, the god brother of Ishwara Puri, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Govinda is one of the servants of Ishwara Puri, was sent by Ishwara Puri to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Brahmananda Bharati is another god brother of Ishwara Puri. Ramabhadra Acharya, Bhagavan Acharya, and Kashishwar Pandit is another servant of Ishwara Puri. All these great devotees, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he mentions, just like rivers are flowing in different part of India, but they converge at one place and they enter the ocean. Similarly, these are all great personalities. And because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, all of them, they were traveling. They are all sannyasis. And they are all traveling all over India. But they heard that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared in Purushottam Kshetra Puri. And all of them, they gave up their traveling. And they all, one by one, at different times of the year, they all arrived in Puri and they surrendered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami mentions, anybody who heard all this very attentively will surely attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just like all these personalities also attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After some days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he has that request from the king. When was that request made to the king? 2 years back, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already left for South India Yatra. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has affection for the king, so he remembers it. And although there is no reminder from the king, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, one day he approaches the Supreme Lord and he says, can I say something to you if you promise me Abhayadan? So knowing the mood and the cultural context at that time, he knows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mostly will become angry. So agar Abhayadan denge, tab main kuch bolu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I will accept it if it is to be considered, and I'll reject it if it is not to be considered. So I don't promise you Abhayadan. You speak what you want to speak. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, actually the king is a very eager person and all he wants is to meet you once. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he closes his ears. And in essence, he says, for somebody who wants to cross over the material world, who is serious to cross over the material world, even the darshan of a materialist or even the darshan of somebody who's interested in material matters, especially enjoyment with the opposite gender, is actually worse than knowingly drinking poison. Ha hanta hanta vishabhakshanato api asadhu. So how dangerous is drinking poison? To associate with a materialist for somebody. Param param jigimishor bhavasagarasya. It is more dangerous than drinking poison. And please don't even mention this again. Bhatta kahe, satya tomara vachan, Jagannath sevaka raja kintu bhaktottam. Yes, what you are saying is true, but this king, although he happens to be the king, is Jagannath sevaka raja kintu bhaktottam. Is the best of the devotees. So those rules may not apply to him. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, a serpent, if he's venomous, then even by going close to him, it can be really dangerous. And for a person like me, even if I touch a wooden doll that has the shape of a woman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I get agitated. So I am not going to associate with somebody who's interested in all these matters, especially somebody who is from the royal family, like a king. And if you speak this once again, I am going to leave Puri once more. So he's come back after 2 years. And just on this request, kya aap Raja ko ek bar milenge? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is threatening, I will leave once more. So it is mentioned, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya just keeps quiet immediately. Kintu, parantu, yes, no, chup, because he'll leave. And already 2 years of separation has been heartbreaking for all the Puri Vasis. Imagine if the Puri Vasis understand, because of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's persistence, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this place. All these people will become angry on Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also. So there's a lot of peer pressure, there's a lot of social pressure, and there is also that thought to benefit the king. Meanwhile, just like Ramananda Ray had mentioned to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you go ahead, I'll come in some days. So in some days, around 10-15 days, Ramananda Ray also came. And as soon as Ramananda Ray came, what is the duty of a governor of the king when he returns to the city? The first duty is to report back. Right? If a government sends a person to another place on deputation, and when he comes back, then where he has to report, he has to first report to the reporting authority. So he comes to the king and he says, yes, I have returned back. And you remember, I had written you a letter because Ramananda had told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have written a letter and the king has already sanctioned it. So you remember, I had written that letter, so I have come back now. And he says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested me when he met me in South India that you please come to Puri. And Ramananda is telling this whole story to Lord Chaitanya. And he's saying, as soon as I spoke, he's telling, as soon as I spoke to the king, I went to meet the king and I told him I've come back. As soon as I mentioned, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has called me. The king was sitting on the asan. He got up. And he was so excited to hear your name. He came ahead from the asan. He took hold of my hands. Now usually the king will always be sitting in his position and the reporting personality has to go close to the king, has to give a report. But Ramananda Ray is saying, the king got excited and the king got up and the king came to me and the king caught hold of my hand. And he said, you are so fortunate that the Supreme Lord has invited you here. Now, just think about it for a moment, that you are in a superior position and you have been denied some privilege. And somebody who reports to you has not just been given that privilege, he has been invited personally. So on one side, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inviting Ramananda Ray, please come. And he is rejecting Prataparudra Maharaj. Prataparudra Maharaj happens to be in a higher position. And what is the difference in the status of Prataparudra Maharaj and Ramananda Ray? Ramananda Ray is also the local king. In today's language, we can call him the local zamindar or something. He is a small king. And the bigger king is this. So both are king only. Both are rulers only. Both are in position-wise, socially wise, they are in the same profession. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one person, he met him twice. He invited him. And that person is going and telling the king. And the king is completely non-envious. And the king is saying, you are so fortunate. And just because you are so fortunate, I can assure you, whatever money you are earning, some payment was being done to you because you are representing the king of Odisha there. I promise you, you will get the same salary here, but you don't need to go again back to South India. You stay here only. And maybe one day, I'll also get mercy. So this shows the completely non-envious nature of Prataparudra Maharaj. And when this thing is being spoken by Ramananda Ray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, Prabhu kahe tumi Krishna bhakat pradhan, toma ke ye priti kare sei bhagyavan. This is the first time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the absence of the king, has said, the only great thing about the king is, toma ke ye priti kare sei bhagyavan. The good thing about the king is, he loves you, Ramananda Ray. And then he says, Tomate ei priti hoite rajar, ei gune Krishna tare karibe angikar. Just because he has so much priti for you, Ramananda Ray, and he is so much non-envious of you, one day Krishna will definitely accept him. So this is the first indication that there's a long story, but this is the first indication that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, yes, maybe it is going to work out. Meanwhile, the king heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come back to Puri after 2 years. Right? So from Cuttack, he is not calling Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to Cuttack. From Cuttack, as a humble person, he is coming to Puri. Now second time he is meeting Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and he is saying, you remember 2 years back I had requested you something and I heard that he has come back. Did you ask? So he said, yes, I asked. Yes? What was the reply? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, he completely declined. Not only that, he said, if you ask me this question once more, then I will leave Jagannath Puri. So I have decided to keep quiet and I am not going to ask anything. And Prataparudra Maharaj, he already sanctioned Ramananda Ray's request. So Prataparudra Maharaj says, actually, I did some research in these last 2 years. I heard that there were two sinful people like Jagai and Madhai. And I heard that this personality delivered even Jagai and Madhai. But it seems he has some thought about my disqualification and he's saying that he won't deliver me. Okay, if he has taken an oath, if he has taken a pratigya that he will never meet me, I also take a pratigya that chhadi be jivan, I will not leave if I cannot get the darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yadi sei Mahaprabhur na pai kripa dhana, kiba rajya kiba deha sab akarana. If I don't get kripa dhan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagai Madhai got, but I am not getting, no problem. Kiba rajya, kiba deha sab akaran. I'll give up everything that I have, but I have to get darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Seeing this kind of determination coming from a king, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes highly astonished. He's Vismita and he says, I can assure you something. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a prema adhina. And you are a prema, you have a lot of prema in you. I can assure you, one day you will get darshan. When? Don't ask me. But one day you get darshan. And again, Prataparudra Maharaj has so much faith in the words of his guru. He is non-envious and he is facilitating somebody junior to him to get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But even though he is being crushed from both sides, he has a lot of faith on his guru's words and he says, okay, it will happen. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, seeing this sweet attitude of Prataparudra Maharaj, says, I can mention to you one trick. Very soon there will be Rathyatra. And I know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so much love he has for Jagannath, he will surely dance ecstatically in Rathyatra. And after Rathyatra, he will get exhausted. So that time, I can give you one trick. You should give up your king's clothes and you should approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And actually, humbly, you should gently serve him. And I am sure on that day, because what is Rathyatra? Since Satya Yuga, this Rathyatra has been going on, since Indradyumna Maharaj's time. But nobody knew what is Rathyatra. It is only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who revealed the deeper message of the Rathyatra. What is Rathyatra? The gopis, they heard that there is a solar eclipse. And they heard that Dwarkavasis, along with Krishna, are going to Kurukshetra. Throughout their whole life, they know that Krishna is in Dwarka, but Krishna had promised the Vrajvasis, I will come back. And when he will come back, he has not mentioned. Very soon he said. So the gopis and the Vrajvasis kept waiting for Krishna to come and they did not leave even for Mathura or even for Dwarka. Why? Because when they go to Dwarka to meet Krishna or when they go to nearby Mathura to meet Krishna, let's say on that day only Krishna goes to Vraj and he finds out, you didn't have faith on me? I told you I will come to Vraj, but you left Vraj to search for me. It means you don't have faith on me. So anticipating the probable pain that Krishna may feel if Krishna does not find the Vrajvasis in Vraj. When they go searching for Krishna in Mathura or Dwarka, the Vrajvasis never left Vraj. But they got one guarantee. On that solar eclipse, the Dwarkavasis are going to Kurukshetra. So then Krishna that time will not come to Vraj. So he will not be pained. So there is one guarantee to meet Krishna. What is that? On that solar eclipse day, if we go to Kurukshetra, then we'll meet Krishna there. So this is the first time that the Vrajvasis traveled outside Vraj, knowing it won't cause pain to Krishna. And they also went to Kurukshetra. In Kurukshetra, they saw Krishna in royal dress, elephants, battalions of soldiers. He has a sword instead of a flute. And at night, alone, the gopis, they met Krishna and said, you are the same Krishna, we are the same gopis. This is the same Radharani. But this is not Vrindavan. This is not Kadambavan. This is not near Govardhan. The Yamuna river is not flowing here. So although both of us are the same, but the environment is not the same. So can we request you to please come to Vrindavan? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned the gopis sat Krishna on the chariots of their mind and they started pulling the chariot towards Vrindavan. And when the devotees come together in Jagannath Puri on Rathyatra day and they start pulling the Rath of Jagannath, actually it is assisting the gopis in trying to pull Krishna back to Vrindavan. So till 500 years back, for millions of years, they were just pulling the Rath and looking at the beautiful face of Sri Jagannath Ji, but nobody knew the significance of that. So His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj in the last Jagannath Yatra, he mentioned that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in front of Jagannath, Jagannath is already Mahabhava Rupa of Krishna, right? And when is Krishna showing that big eyes and big smile form? When he is hearing Vraj Katha, when Rohini Devi is speaking, right? So Mahabhava Rupa of Krishna remembering Radharani is Jagannath. And who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It is Srimati Radharani trying to call out Krishna. So Radhanath Maharaj was mentioning, in Rath Yatra what happens is, Jagannath Ji is Krishna experiencing Mahabhav for Radharani, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srimati Radharani experiencing Mahabhav for Krishna. It's Krishna seeing Radharani and Radharani seeing Krishna. So it is like the highest Leela that can happen. And if we participate in Jagannath Rath Yatra in that mood, it is kind of serving the gopis and Srimati Radharani in trying to bring Krishna back to Gundicha, which is representative of Shri Vrindavan Dham. So knowing all this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is mentioning that on that day, this will happen. And our Prataparudra Maharaj, he says, very good. So now, when is it happening? Ye Rath Yatra kabhi hai fir? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya mentioned, Snana Yatra will happen 3 days later. Snana Yatra is the Brahmotsav. That is the appearance day of Jagannath in this world. And you do Snan Abhishek of Lord Jagannath. And 15 days later is Rath Yatra day. So this is roughly 18 days before Rath Yatra, this conversation is happening. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give him darshan. Just by hearing that, the king becomes very happy. And the king says, okay, now let me, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, now let me think about this. So then Snan Yatra happened. On Snan Yatra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took darshan of the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord, because he experiences a bath of water, so he gets a little bit temperature. He falls transcendentally sick. And for 15 days, Anavasar, there is no darshan of Lord Jagannath. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord on Snan Yatra, he became overwhelmed. But after that, Jagannath Ji, for 15 days, he will not give darshan. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in deep separation. And he was thinking, anyways, I am not going to get darshan. So in the mood of the gopis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shifted to Alarnath temple in separation from Lord Jagannath. Now, the king wants to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shifted from Puri to Alarnath and he's not even meeting anybody because he's in deep ecstatic separation. So now how to facilitate all this? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya again does a yukti. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya goes to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Alarnath and says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so many Bengali Vaishnavas, they made a plan to come to Jagannath Puri for Rath Yatra. So in a few days, they will be arriving in Puri, and when they arrive in Puri, they will be searching for you. And if you are alone in Alarnath, then what will they do? So my request is, you please come back from Alarnath to Puri. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has such high intelligence, but that intelligence, anybody's intelligence can be used in 2 ways. One is to find newer and newer ways to please Krishna, and another way to utilize the same intelligence is to find newer and newer ways to displease Krishna. Right? Either we become Krishna Unmukh, or we become Krishna Vimukh. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is using his God-given intelligence to please God. So that is what we should also be doing, right? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, on this pretext that so many Bengali Vaishnavas are coming, you should return to Puri. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cannot reject when there is a mention of Shiva's Thakur, when there is a mention of Advaita Acharya, when there is a mention of Murari Gupta, when there is a mention of Sridhar Kholavich, when there is a mention of Acharya Ratna, when there is a mention of Mukunda, when there is a mention of Vasudev Datta, all these Shivanand Sen, all these devotees are from Bengal. And when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears this, he says, yes, I'll come to Puri. So he comes back to Puri. The 1 or 2 days later, around 200 devotees from Bengal arrive in Jagannath Puri. And Gopinath Acharya, he comes to the king. Because who's the controller in Puri? The king. And Gopinath Acharya is from Bengal originally, but now he's the brother-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he's the common link between Bengal and Puri. So he comes to the king and says, around 200 devotees are just now arriving and they have come near Narendra Sarovar. So I am requesting on their behalf that they should be given proper accommodation and they should be given proper prasadam facilities. And the king and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya are having a conversation. And what was mentioned in the conversation? There's no chance, but the only chance is on Rathyatra day. So the king says, I will make arrangements for all the devotees. And he calls Kashi Mishra. He is the local manager in Jagannath Puri. And he says, make arrangements for 200 devotees for staying and they should not have any inconvenience for prasadam and do the needful. And then he looks at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and he says, these 200 devotees from Bengal have come just to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Can you show me those devotees? So here is one person who's been rejected by the Lord, but whoever has affection for the Lord, he has affection for them. He could have said, "Arey, I kaun hai? Apna kaam ho nahi raha hai yahan pe." But the king is so sweet. The king, can you show me? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, even I don't know. I am not from Bengal. Yeah? But Gopinath Acharya knows. So 3 of us will go to your palace terrace. And from the palace terrace, we will see. All of them go to the terrace. And they see all the devotees from Narendra Sarovar. They're approaching the palace of the king. They're coming close. And the first personality is effulgent. He has a long beard, shining. And Prataparudra Maharaj, with shining in his eyes, he says, who is he? He's shining so much. And Gopinath Acharya says, he's Advaita Acharya. And he says, he's really shining like anything. He says, yes. And who is he behind him? He says, that is Srivas Thakur. And who is he behind him? That is Vasudeva. So all the devotees, Prataparudra Maharaj has so much fascination for them. And then he says, Sarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda, the personal assistant of Lord Chaitanya, they have been sent by Lord Chaitanya to welcome them. So they love Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also loves them. So Sarup Damodar Goswami has a garland in his hand, and Govinda has chandan paste in his hand. And first person they welcome is Advaita Acharya. And Sarup Damodar Goswami offers full obeisances, and Govinda also offers full obeisances to Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya lifts them and embraces them. And Advaita Acharya says, who is he? To Govinda. Then Sarup Damodar Goswami also understands that he does not know him because he recently came. He is Govinda, he is the personal servant of Ishwara Puri, and Ishwara Puri sent him to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, very loving interactions happen, and Prataparudra Maharaj is observing all this from the top. Then he sees something. These devotees who have come, one by one they come, and Sarup Damodar Goswami and Govinda welcome them. But the Jagannath temple is in one direction. And these devotees, after welcoming, they are going in another direction. Which direction they are going? They are going in the direction of the place of residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, we may not be practicing it so much, but 500 years before, anybody who comes to the holy place, he first goes for the main darshan. So he says that, how is it that first, he says something, Prataparudra Maharaj says, Koti Surya Sama Saba Ujvala Varana Kabhu Nahi Shuni Ei Madhura Kirtana. All of them are shining like Koti Surya and Kabhu Nahi Shuni Ei Madhura Kirtana. And then he says, Aiche Prema, Aiche Nritya, Aiche Hari Dhvani, Kabhu Nahi Dekhi Ara, Kabhu Nahi Shuni. All of these devotees from Bengal, they're dancing with so much love and they're singing with so much love. I never saw this, I never heard this. Bhattacharya kahe ei madhura vachan, Chaitanya srishti ei prema sankirtan. Yes, many people have chanted the holy names even before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya srishti, this prem sankirtan, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra was especially invented by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And why did he invent it? Because actually that is the Yuga Dharma of Kali Yuga. So now he got second time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is telling his disciple, he is the Supreme Lord. So now there is a series of questions from the king. Then he says, oh, if he is the Supreme Lord, then why are there some scholars in Puri who don't accept him as the Supreme Lord? Why are they indifferent towards the Supreme Lord? Supreme Lord, Ramchandra ji ki puja to sab karte hain, Krishna ki puja to sab karte hain, Jagannath ji ki puja to Jagannath Puri mein sab koi karte hain. Lekin Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ke prati, why are some people indifferent? Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, it's not easy to recognize the Lord even when Lord Krishna himself was there, did Duryodhan recognize him? Did Dushasan recognize him? Did Shakuni recognize him? One of our brahmacharis, Nityanand Prabhu, I was discussing with him that, this year, 2025, Nityanand Trayodashi class, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gave somewhere in the West. Nityanand Trayodashi, and he was not here. So I was sharing with him, Maharaj gave Nityanand, our Narsingh Chaturdashi class this year. So that in that discussion, Nityanand Prabhu is saying, sometimes devotees have this fascination, मुझे भगवान का दर्शन करना है. So in connection to Narsingh Chaturdashi, I am saying this. So Nityanand Prabhu asked me, when Narsingh Dev appeared from the pillar, whom did he see the first? Yes, anybody? Hiranyakashipu. Samne Hiranyakashipu hai na. Right? He said, is he there in the pillar? Dum. And then Narsingh Dev appeared, right? So Nityanand Prabhu is asking me, so many people have this fascination. Are Bhagwan ke darshan karne hai. And sometimes, we push devotees while taking darshan. So he asked me, Narsingh Dev jab pehle baar aaye, whom did he see first? So I mentioned, yes, it was Hiranyakashipu. So much for the first darshan. We give so much importance for the first darshan. And who's the first person Narsingh Dev saw? Hiranyakashipu. But was he eager to see Narsingh Dev? Was he eager to see Hiranyakashipu? Although he's there in front, the eyes must have first fallen. But was he eager to see? Who was Narsingh Dev eager to see? Prahlad. And who was the first person who saw Narsingh Dev? Hiranyakashipu. He is the closest. But what is the effect of seeing Narsingh Dev from so close? If you read the Bhagavatam, when Narsingh Dev appears, Hiranyakashipu, who is this creature? He calls him a creature. When Varahadev appears, Hiranyaksha, if you read the Bhagavatam, Hiranyaksha says, this creature I will kill. They can't even call him the Supreme Lord. Why? Because of the cataract of envy in their eyes. So Nityanand Prabhu is telling me, there is so much fascination. Darshan मुझे पहले लेना है. तो दर्शन पहले तो हिरण्यकशिपु ने लिया. क्या परिवर्तन हुआ उसमें? और अगर भगवान की दृष्टि से देखेंगे, कृष्णा, Narsingh Dev, he also saw Hiranyakashipu. He's, who are you? Why are you obstructing my vision? Get aside. I want to see Prahlad, right? So we should not be so much in that mood of pehle darshan main karunga. We should be that in the mood of, actually I should be in the right consciousness. If I'm in the right consciousness, Krishna may see somebody, but he will say, hut, I want to see somebody else, because he has the right consciousness, right? Prataparudra Maharaj has that mood. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying, why are some scholars indifferent to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not accepting him? That happened in Ramchandra's time also. That happened in Krishna's time also. Actually, you need to be favored by the mercy of the Lord if you want to recognize the Lord. Then he's seeing, the king is seeing they're going in another direction. So why are they not going to the temple to take darshan of Lord Jagannath? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, actually they are from Bengal and they have spontaneous affection for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Inko Jagannath ji se jada nahi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ke paas jayenge. I was talking to one devotee. So, I was asking him how to understand this. So he asked me, do you have a computer? So I said, yes. So do you have Windows 95 on it or you have latest Windows on it? So I said, yes, Windows 11. So he's saying the previous incarnations are like the proper Windows, but the Windows 95. Windows 98, Windows 2000, Windows Professional, and the latest is Windows 11. So we should get attached to the latest version. So, the Bengali Vaishnavas are attracted to Lord Chaitanya. Then he says, okay, now, this Vaninath, whom Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had kept for personal seva. So king had ordered Kashi Mishra to arrange for prasadam and accommodation. So the king is saying, this Vaninath, he came to the Jagannath temple and he took huge quantities of Mahaprasad. It means, I am not really able to understand, itna Mahaprasad kiske liye leke ja raha hai, Vaninath? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, actually these devotees, for them, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordered Vaninath to bring large quantities of Mahaprasad for them. Acha, they just came and they're not even going to take darshan of Jagannath. And now they want to take large quantities of Mahaprasad. So he says, Tirthera Vidhan, Kshaura Uposhan. Traditionally, if you go to a holy place, you should shave, Kshaura, and you should do fasting, Uposhan. And then you should take darshan and then you should take prasad. ये तो पूरा sequence उल्टा कर रहे हैं ये लोग. पहले खा रहे हैं, फिर दर्शन करेंगे. मालूम नहीं fasting करेंगे कि नहीं करेंगे. Right? So they are reversing the whole order. How to understand this? So our Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's such a sweet person. He's guiding his disciple. He's saying that ईश्वरेर परोक्ष आज्ञा क्षौर उपोषण प्रभुर साक्षात आज्ञा prasada bhojan. The Vedas are the breathing of the Lord only. So Ishwarera Paroksha Agya. The indirect order of the Lord is when you go to a holy place, you should do Kshaura Uposhan. But here, that same Supreme Lord, Sakshat Agya, Prasada Bhojan. He wants Prasad to be honored by all his devotees. And then he says, actually, when prasad is not available, if you do uposhan, if you do fasting, it is understandable. But when the Supreme Lord himself has personally ordered you should have prasad bhojan, if you don't follow that order, following the Vedic rules, then it is aparad. Yes? And then he mentions something very sweet. Would you like to hear that? Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, actually, me also. So anybody knows this story? Just the day when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he completely changed. Next day morning, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is at his home and he has not yet, just yesterday उनका initiation हुआ है, तो next day मंगल आरती के लिए नहीं गए वो. So he didn't wake up early. He's yet to change in his behavior. Internally he has changed. So his mouth is not washed. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the temple and he brought some Mahaprasad. And he's so happy by the conversion of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. With that Mahaprasad, he goes to the home of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and knocks. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya opens the door. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has just woken up. His mouth is not clean. And he says, this is Mahaprasad for you. Jagannath Mahaprasad for you. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya knows all the Vedas. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya knows all the rules of social cleanliness. Right? He knows everything. But as soon as he sees the Mahaprasad of Jagannath in the hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has personally brought for his newly initiated disciple, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya takes that Mahaprasad and puts it in his mouth. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, my dear Sarvabhauma, what happened to the Vedic rules and regulations? Till yesterday, you were such a big scholar. And you used to mention, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, as I mentioned, is using his intelligence for the right cause. He quotes one shloka from one small scripture called Gautamiya Tantra. There's one small book. In that small book, there is written, even if Mahaprasad is stale, purana hai, ya jhuta hai, still you should take. And the last line says, Prapti matrena bhoktavyam. If you see Mahaprasad, you may not be hungry also, but you should take it and honor it because it is Krishna's mercy. So, Prapti Matrena Bhoktavyam, this person till yesterday was quoting scriptures left and right, and he argued with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a long time. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the Atmaram verse to him, he was opposing pure devotional service. That person is again now quoting that part of the scriptures, which says that yes, even with a dirty mouth, you should honor the Mahaprasad. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so happy. It is mentioned, he took a shawl, the uttari, threw it in the air. And he said, Aji Mora says, today my life has become successful. And today I am successful that I have converted. Aji Sarvabhaumera hoila Mahaprasade Vishwas. If Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has got so much faith that Mahaprasad is Sakshat mercy of Krishna, all rules kept aside, Mahaprasad lena chahiye karke. So that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is remembering that story and is telling, actually, I also personally, I also stopped following all the rules and regulations. And whatever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I do. Similarly, all these Vaishnavas to bachpan se bhakt hai. So don't expect them to follow all the rules and regulations. And Prataparudra Maharaja understands these Bengali Vaishnavas are really special. So again, he calls Kashi Mishra and he says, you remember I told you to make all arrangements? Now reconfirm it. You make very nice arrangements them for staying. You make very nice arrangements for prasad. Make sure that when any of these devotees go to the temple, they should not face any inconvenience, even for taking darshan. And the orders of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have to be followed. So Kashi Mishra will say, but मुझे direct orders मिलते हैं कहाँ हैं? वो तो आपके through ऐसे मिलते हैं मुझे. Says, just by indication, you should understand what is the mind of the Supreme Lord. So please these devotees. So again, the sweet nature of Prataparudra Maharaja, he's been denied even darshan, but he's just sanctioning anything and everything for the pleasure of those who are dear to the Supreme Lord. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's on the terrace, Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, okay, now let me go and meet all these Vaishnavas. So he goes, and Vasudev Datta comes, Srivas Thakur, Damodar Pandit, Shivanand Sen, Murari Gupta, all these devotees are coming, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after Gadadhar Pandit, Govinda and Swarup Damodar, they welcome. Now they are meeting because they moved in the direction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's residence. So that time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now looking at Kashi Mishra and is saying, can we make arrangements for all these Vaishnavas? And Kashi Mishra says, I have been already ordered by the king to make all arrangements. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again hears. So he heard from Ramananda Ray how the king is very pure-hearted and is facilitating everything. And now Kashi Mishra also says, the king already ordered me, so you don't worry. And then the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, if possible, give me also some small room somewhere near the temple. It should be solitary, it should be secluded, but give me also same room. And Kashi Mishra, he says, I am your servant. The king has told me, even if you give an indication, even if you don't speak something, I have to follow your orders. So don't beg, you just order me. Kya chahiye aap batao? Raja ne pehle hi bol diya hai. So the king has already given orders, and the Supreme Lord is hearing all this, but he's not saying anything. He's not saying that I'm pleased on you. Then Lord Chaitanya ordered all the Vaishnavas, you have just come, now you go to your quarters, which Kashi Mishra has arranged. You take a bath in the sea, then you take the darshan of the chakra of the Lord. He does not ask them to go and take darshan of Jagannath Ji, because that will take more time. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, chakra ka darshan le lo, jaldi idhar aa jao, phir hum log prasad lenge. So the whole focus is having prasad together. And these devotees, they rush, they take bath, they take darshan of the chakra, they come to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally serves all the devotees from Bengal. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, he serves the quantity of 2 to 3 people to every person. And all of them, they are just putting their hands like this. And he's saying, no, I'm putting more and more. But none of them are eating. हालांकि बहुत प्रसाद है, लेकिन खाया नहीं किसी ने. Then Swarup Damodar Goswami goes to Lord Chaitanya and says, you know what, you want them to eat, but they will not eat. Why? Because they are waiting for you to eat. So if you want them to eat, you have to sit for eating. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay. Then Paramananda Puri is senior, is also waiting for him. Brahmanand Bharati is senior, he's also waiting for having prasad. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes with them, and then prasadam starts. And then after prasadam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, now let's do something for which I have come. What is that? Nam Sankirtan. So now these 200 Bengali Vaishnavas who have been missing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 2 years, they have come to Puri. They have been lovingly fed by the Supreme Lord himself. And all the affection exchange has happened. And now they are going to engage in what they used to do daily in Mayapur, Nadia, in Shiva Sangan. Can you imagine this Sankirtan? So this Sankirtan star, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu divides into 4 groups. And he says, you will sing in the first group, you will sing in the first group. Lord Nityanand is leader of the first group. Advaita Acharya is leader of one. Vakreshwar Pandit is one group. And Srivas Thakur is one group. And there are 2 mridangas in every group. And there are total 8 kartals in every group. So 32 kartals and 8 mridangas in 4 groups. And they are in 4 directions. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in between. And then the kirtan starts. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, this kirtan was so sweet and it was so amazing. The mridanga sound went to the 14 planetary systems and the whole Puri was shaking. And the residents of Puri said, what is this sound coming? And they said, Kirtana dekhi sabara mana haila chamatkara, kaha nahi dekhi aise premera vikara. Each and every devotee from Bengal, they are meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after a long time, and Kirtan is happening. They were all dancing in so much love. It is mentioned, it is like the Vaishnavas were like clouds, and when the clouds come together, they bang against each other, what happens? Rainfall happens. The tears were flowing like rainfall. And in this Kirtan, one miracle happened. What is that? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in between these 4, were in 4 directions. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at one, but the other 3, when they would look at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would feel Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is looking only at us. Nobody saw this, but Prataparudra Maharaj could see this. Nobody in Jagannath Puri understood how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at all 4 dance parties, kirtan parties simultaneously. Only they felt But they are pure devotees from Bengal. They understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done something special. He's looking only at us. Just like the gopis in Ras Leela would feel Krishna is with me. Only two other people saw this miracle. One is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and one is Prataparudra Maharaj. Why I'm mentioning this? Because Prataparudra Maharaj has been denied meeting, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving him mercy indirectly, that he is being witnessing this miracle also. He was really astonished to see this. After this Nam Sankirtan, in which everyone got exhausted, again Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, after Kirtan, you know it, Prasad. Again he called them for Prasad. Again there was a lot of Prasad. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, for the rest, this Snan Yatra, after Snan Yatra, and Rathyatra is coming up, so maybe for 10, 12 days, he says, every day this was the schedule. Prasad, rousing Kirtan, then again Prasad. And in the evening, then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, now you take rest, but next day morning, Kirtan. So this way they would have Prasad. Whoever hears this pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will very quickly become the servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The first letter was rejected. That request was rejected. When that first letter was rejected, Prataparudra Maharaj said, if his pratigya is not he'll not meet me, I'll make a pratigya that I'll also chhadibe jivan. After some time, he again became anxious. So he's receiving indirect mercy, but he still wants to meet. So this time he wrote second letter. But in this letter, he made a change. He said, oh my dear Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I'll not pressurize you. But now I heard that all these Bengali Vaishnavas have also come. Right? And I saw how Lord Chaitanya loves them and they love Lord Chaitanya. Sab rule tod diye, right? So now my request is, can any of these devotees request Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for me? And in that letter, you know what he wrote? He wrote, Yadi more kripa na karibe gaura hari, rajya chhadi yogi hai, haiba bhikari. Last time he said, chhadiba jivan. This time he says, if I don't get darshan, I'm going to give up the duties of a king. I'll become a bhikari. I'll become a mendicant. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya read that, he again became astonished. He said, what is the mood of this person? He has all the qualifications, but he's being denied and no envy, and he's facilitating all the other Vaishnavas to come closer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's saying, I'll become a bhikari, but I have to receive darshan. He showed it to Lord Nityanand Prabhu. Lord Nityanand Prabhu, he said, this is really something special. His mood is really very special. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, okay, let's do something. We will not go and ask Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for meeting the king, because he'll get angry. All of us will just go to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and we'll just continuously glorify the king. Just बोले राजा बहुत अच्छा है, राजा ने ये सेवा किया, आपके बंगाली वैष्णवस का एकोमोडेशन उन्होंने किया, and he ordered कि मंदिर में जाएंगे तो तकलीफ नहीं होनी चाहिए, दर्शन एकदम अच्छे से होना चाहिए. We just keep on glorifying the king and the Lord's heart will melt. So all of them, they said, yes, yes, very good idea, we'll go. Then all of them went. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is sitting. He's strict also as a sannyasi. Nobody is speaking. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ko already threat mila hai. If you speak, I'll go. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is obviously quiet. And Lord Nityanand, he is also quiet. And all these Bengali Vaishnavas, they are quiet. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says that, what is it? It seems you want to speak something, but idhar pe aa rahi hai baat. Nobody is speaking anything. What is going on? Speak something. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, actually, we received another request, and he's saying that he'll become a bhikari. So all of us feel that you should give him darshan. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, so now what do you all feel? You all feel that I should go to Cuttack to meet the king? And I should become a laughing stock? People will say, just look at this sannyasi. This sannyasi is now traveling to meet the king. What to speak? This Damodar Pandit will also laugh on me. So there's a person called Damodar Pandit who has Vatsalya Ras. He's not in Dasya Sakhya. He's in so he would always chastise Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is another story we'll speak some other time. But basically, Damodar Pandit is somebody who has the audacity to chastise Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, ये इधर ही खड़े हैं, बंगाल से अभी आए हैं. इनके सामने मैं he'll chastise me. Damodar Pandit says, I am an insignificant jiva. What, I'll chastise you? But I know one thing, because, the king never mentioned that the sannyasi should come to Cuttack to meet me. What did the king say? King said, I just want one darshan. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what do you want? You want me to go to the Katak? So what is the hint there? The hint there is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart has melted by the sweet mood of Prataparudra Maharaj in serving the Vaishnavas. The heart has melted by Ramananda Ray's glorification of the king. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indirectly has given a hint, I'll meet the king. Because he never mentioned, you come to Katak. But so Srila Prabhupada also, in the purport he mentions, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu externally, he was very strict as a sannyasi because he wanted to set a very high standard. But by mentioning, so what do you want? You want me to go to Katak to meet the king? Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave an indirect hint that very soon the king will receive darshan. So Sri Nityanand Prabhu, then he intervenes. Thoda space mil gaya unko. So then Sri Nityanand Prabhu, he says, actually, my dear Lord, you are the Supreme Lord. Who can instruct you? But remember one thing. When Krishna and the Brahman Patnis met, some of the Brahman Patnis were stopped by the Brahman husbands to meet the king, and some of them, in separation from the Lord, left their bodies. So sometimes when somebody is really eager to meet and you don't give darshan, that person can leave his body also. So Nityanand Prabhu is very expert. He's giving some Krishna Leela example. But he's saying, what if Prataparudra Maharaj leaves? And our neighboring king can come here, right? And you don't want that. So he's such a nice person. Please meet him. So I have another way in which this thing can be solved. You don't want to meet him, but you mentioned that you go to Katak and meet him. So I have some solution in between. If you can give your outer cloth, then it is like giving your darshan to Prataparudra Maharaj. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you all are learned personalities. Whatever you decide, you do. He didn't say yes. The more you go deeper into this, it's such refined behavior. Sri Chaitanya, okay, I'll give my cloth. No. And he's also not saying no. He said, okay, all of your learned personalities, what can I say? You all decide. So Nityananda Prabhu immediately grabbed Govinda and he said, Thoda Mahaprasad lake dena. Thode vastra lake dena. And that cloth was sent to Prataparudra Maharaj in the personal presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prataparudra Maharaj, when he received the uttari, the cloth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he worshipped that cloth daily just like he would worship the Supreme Lord himself. No complaints. मांग के मैं कहाँ तक चला गया, भिखारी बनूंगा, जान दे दूंगा, और मिला क्या? एक क्लॉथ मिला, दर्शन नहीं दे सकते? जगाई मधाई को दर्शन देंगे आप? वाणीनाथ राय, उसको दर्शन देंगे? रामानंद राय को 2 बार दर्शन देंगे? रास्ता बदल के आप गए दूसरी बार उनको मिलने के लिए. पहली बार तो रास्ते में था. Second time you changed your course and you met him. He's also a king. Vaninath is also a king. Bhavanand Ray is your eternal associate. What crime I have done? Internally, have I ever offended any Vaishnava? Externally, have I spoken anything harsh against any Vaishnava? Indirectly, have I told my ministers to suffocate any Vaishnava? Body, mind, words, thoughts, consciousness, at all levels, Prataparudra Maharaj is so pure. And what is he getting in return? Compromise after compromise, or sometimes threats. But Prataparudra Maharaj will not change. Prataparudra Maharaj is saying, I will get the mercy of the Lord. After some time, Ramananda Ray, he met the king. Again, he came and he met now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he mentioned, the king wants to receive your darshan. So Ramananda Ray has won the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Ramananda Ray was also a minister there, so it is mentioned he knows diplomacy. He knows how to speak. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Raja Mantri Ramananda Vyavahare Nipun. He's very expert in diplomacy. Raja Priti Kohi Dravaila Prabhur Man. He made it soft. Repeatedly he would say, the king is good. You should meet the king. You should meet the king. And the Supreme Lord could not say much. So he made it soft. And one day he said, can I speak something to you? He says, yes. If it is fit, then I may think about it. If it is unfit, I'll reject it. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is again very strict. He says, actually, the king is a very special person, and all he wants is to raise your lotus feet from the ground into his heart. What a diplomatic way to convince the Lord to give mercy to somebody. All he wants is to raise your lotus feet from the ground into his heart. इतना ही चाहिए, बस और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. So the king, the Supreme Lord, he says, you know what? I am not independent. I can't take such decisions. He said, but you're the independent Supreme Lord. He said, no, I'm not independent Supreme Lord. I'm a dependent sannyasi. If I break some rule of sannyas, people will laugh on me. Sannyasira alpa chidra sarva loka gaya. Little spot on the sannyasi's cloth is noted and people spread it everywhere. So I cannot take such a chance. I'm not going to do this. Ramananda Ray, he says, my dear Lord, you have delivered so many people. So many sinful people have been delivered by you. Why can't you deliver this king? And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he may be a very nice devotee, but he has one fault. He's in the position of a king. And he says, in a pot of milk, even if you put one small drop of liquor, it becomes untouchable. So he is a pot of all good qualities, but usme ek fault hai. He is a king. King means surrounded by lot of material things and tendency to enjoy. So I want to meet him. If you think, till now all the proposals were coming from the devotees. First time, and Ramananda Ray is also very sweetly, diplomatically trying to convince, this proposal is coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How many would like to hear the proposal of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a proposal. If you think proper, I have read in the Vedas that the son is a representative of the father. If you think fit, aapki marzi. If you think fit, you can bring the prince to meet me, and I am ready to meet the prince, and that is equivalent to meeting the king. So what did Ramananda Ray do? Of course, yes. Immediately he went to meet the king, and he said, I put my request, but the Supreme Lord said, not the king, but the prince. And what did the king feel when fourth time his request has been cut? The king was so happy, he said, no problem, please take my son. No envy. So Prataparudra Maharaj is so sweet. And the king's son is blackish in complexion and he has jewels all over his body. And he is just now entering youth. Kishore vay mein pravesh kar rahe hain. He almost reminds everyone of Krishna. Krishna is Kishore vayin, blackish complexion. Incidentally, that day, the prince was also wearing a yellow dhoti. So, now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave that facility, bring the prince. The prince walked in, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting alone, blackish complexion, lotus-like eyes, jewels all over his body, just entering youth. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got reminded of Krishna when he met the prince. And he said, I am so fortunate that I am meeting you. He took the prince close and he embraced him. And as soon as the prince was embraced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this prince, whatever he had done in his whole life, everything was gone. And he started shivering and he started chanting, Krishna, 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 Krishna. He started jumping. And all the devotees who were close, they said, Ramananda Ray ko kripa mili, Vaninath ko kripa mili, sabko kripa mili, Raja ke bete ko kripa mili. In 1 second, he became a pure devotee. But Prataparudra Maharaj did not receive that mercy. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by looking at the prince dancing and jumping, he said, I am so fortunate that I got the darshan of you today. You reminded me of Krishna. What a fortune I have. And this prince, he calmed him down. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calmed him down. And the prince went home. And Prataparudra Maharaj, when he saw the prince in a different mood, Prataparudra Maharaj, with all affection, embraced his own son, as if he is embracing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told this prince, you are such a great devotee, you should come and meet me daily. And Prataparudra Maharaj, without any competitive spirit, without any feeling in his heart, is saying, at least you got mercy, you are so fortunate. Very soon, the Rathyatra day came. We have less time, but I'll finish this. Very sweet. Rathyatra day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up early. Yes, Gundicha Marjan also happened. On Gundicha Marjan day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought all his devotees to Gundicha Marjan, and he told Kashi Mishra, the manager, I need some pots and I need some brooms because we want to do Gundicha Marjan. The Kashi Mishra said, I have been instructed by the king. Whatever you feel, whatever you think I should sanction it, here are 100 new pots and 100 new brooms. So on one side, king's sweet attitude is also reaching there. So then Rathyatra day, they get up early in the morning, they reach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by looking at Jagannath, he's in another mood, and he starts singing that song. Sarup Damodar Goswami is the only person who understands that song, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Naham Vipro Nachanarapati Napi Vaishur. So different shlokas he is singing in glorification of the gopis of Vrindavan, the same mood of Vrindavan. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, on that day, there was a competition between Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in front of Lord Jagannath, and sometimes while dancing, he would go in behind the Rath. And when he would go behind the Rath would stop, because Jagannath ji would, where is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, on that day there was a competition between Lord Jagannath and Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya was so heavy that Lord Chaitanya won. And whenever Lord Chaitanya would go back, the Rath would stop. It would not move. Elephants were pushing the Rath, but the Rath would not move unless Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in front. Then sometimes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go and dance in front of Balabhadra's Rath. And Sri Balramji and Subhadraji, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, they appeared to be smiling more just to see the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing. He was running around. He was sometimes in a circle. And because of his yellow dhoti, and his Ujjvala Varan, his golden complexion, when he was running around, it looked like there was some fire stick. When you move a fire stick like this, it appears like continuous fire. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he was running fast, it looked like a firebrand moving fast. And when this was going on, the devotees wanted to protect Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because sometimes he would fall down also. So they formed one circle around him. So the first circle was by Sri Nityanand Prabhu. The second circle was by Srivas Thakur. And the third circle was by Prataparudra Maharaj and his ministers and associates. And they are watching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dance in a wild way. So at one point of time what happened is, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dancing, and Prataparudra Maharaj had his assistant, his name was Harichandan. So Prataparudra Maharaj wanted to see darshan of Sri Chaitanya while dancing. So he put his hand on Harichandan's shoulders, and he wants to take darshan. Now what happened is, Prataparudra Maharaj, as he's looking at Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, somehow Srivas Thakur came in between. And Prataparudra Maharaj was then looking here and there, and he was putting pressure on Harichandan. Dekhne ko nahi mil raha hai. So Harichandan is a servant of the king. And when somebody obstructs the king, then what does the servant do? He clears. So he pushed Srivas Thakur. Now Srivas Thakur is in a protective mood, and he is also taking darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who wants to miss that darshan, right? So he did not move. Then again Prataparudra Maharaj is doing like this. The Harichandan understood him. He pushed him. Again Srivas Thakur is saying, why is somebody pushing me from behind? But Srivas Thakur is not looking back. Why? Because one moment he does not want to miss Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's darshan of dancing. This happened multiple times. Finally, Srivas Thakur, he turned back and slapped Harichandan. So Harichandan, he's the king's servant. He's serving the king. And he got slapped. This is a big thing, right? So Harichandan wanted to reply back to Srivas Thakur. And Prataparudra Maharaj caught hold of his hand and said, you are so fortunate that you got slapped by Srivas Thakur. Please don't misuse this. We have a habit of taking only some parts of the lecture and then mention to somebody. So he says, I am not so fortunate to receive mercy of a Vaishnava or the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but you are so fortunate. You are so fortunate. So Harichandan also got puzzled. What is so fortunate about receiving a slap? But Prataparudra Maharaj is so special. And then in the afternoon, Jagannath Rath, it reached a place called Balagandi, where unlimited bhoga is offered to the Lord. And when unlimited bhoga is offered to the Lord, the dancing stops. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just like we offer bhoga, we close the curtain. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is time to take rest. Nearby was Jagannath Vallabh garden. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just went, his whole body is perspiring by whole day dancing. He went and laid down there. Sarubam Bhattacharya caught hold of Raja. This is your golden moment. Shri Prataparudra Maharaj, after facing so many difficulties and after having such a sweet, non-envious, non-competitive mood, now is following the words of his Guru. He gave up his kingly clothes. He was so humble. He went and prayed to every single Vaishnav who was present there. And with that, like when we go for deity worship, we take a clean bath, we put on clean clothes, but when we enter, there is something called as Manas Puja. All the pujaris, when they go inside, it's not that with a clean body and clean clothes you can touch the Lord. The most important part is Manas Puja, where you have to clean the mind. When you enter, you offer prayers and Das, Das, Dasanu, Das. This is my position. Actually, the spiritual master is the fit person to serve the deities, but spiritual master is busy. On behalf of the spiritual master, I am Das, Dasanu, Das mood. I am touching you. Please don't mind. So, our Prataparudra Maharaj is going to touch the deity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He first has purified his mind for so many days now, and after that now he purifies his ego by going to every single devotee. He's the king. King doesn't do all this. Also, when the Rathyatra started, he poured scented water, sandalwood scented water. He took a broom in his hand, he cleaned it, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy when he saw that. With that pure heart, with that pure body, with that pure consciousness, now he goes there, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eyes are closed. He starts massaging his legs very, very softly. Can you imagine how Prataparudra Maharaj's hands must be shivering when he's touching the body after such struggle? And he was told by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you should sing the 5 chapters from the Bhagavatam where the gopis are searching out for Lord Krishna. And he starts singing. And the first shloka of that is Jayati Tedhikam Janmana Vraja Shrayata Indira Shashvatatrahi. So he starts speaking the shloka. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his eyes are closed, and says, go on singing, go on singing, go on singing. You are reminding him about the gopis, you are reminding him about Krishna. In this way, he keeps singing. And then he comes to that shloka which says, Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham. This shloka in essence mentions the gopis are saying, actually, Krishna, your holy names and your katha is Kalmasha Apaham. They destroy the dirt in the heart, and actually it is the only sweetness in Tapta Jivanam. In this life, which is full of hardships, there is only one grace. What is that? Sit and hear the glorification of Krishna, sit and hear the kirtan of Krishna. So when he's singing like that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hears that. The holy names of Krishna are the only shelter in this world. The Hari Katha is the only shelter in this hot, tapta world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gets agitated. He gets awakened. He sits up and he embraces the Lord. He embraces Prataparudra Maharaj and says, who are you? Who are you? Please go on speaking. And Sri Chaitanya Maharaj, Tava Kathamritam. He keeps on singing, Tava Kathamritam, Tava Kathamritam. And Prataparudra Maharaj, sometimes when you receive unexpected difficulties or unexpected reversal, you start crying, right? Suddenly somebody speaks something bad to you, start crying. At the same time, when somebody unexpected speaks very, very lovingly and very sweetly with you, you cry more. So Prataparudra Maharaj, for so many days, he was praying for this moment, and suddenly Sri Chaitanya, just by hearing Tava Kathamritam, he embraced. Prataparudra Maharaj did not understand what happened. And Sri Chaitanya Maharaj, Tava Kathamritam, sing, sing, sing. Prataparudra Maharaj and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are singing this Tava Kathamritam, and both of them, their eyes are just flowing with tears, and Prataparudra Maharaj cannot understand what is happening. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu kahe tumi, who are you? Karila mora hit, achambite asi piyao, Krishna Lilamrit. Who are you that you suddenly came? I don't know you. And you suddenly came and you are making me drink Krishna Leela. And Raja kahe, ami tomara dasera anudas, bhrittera bhritya kara ei morash. See, when somebody whom you wanted to meet, and there were so many reversals, and suddenly he's meeting, what must be the mental situation of Prataparudra Maharaj? He's, in his elements, he cannot speak false. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks him, who are you? What does he say? When Ravan, when Hanumanji was caught, and he says, who are you? He did not mention, I am Hanuman, I am Vayuputra. He says, Dasoham Koshalendrasya. I am a servant of Ram, the king of Koshal Pradesh. So when you are caught and suddenly you are asked, the internal thoughts come out. So when Prataparudra Maharaj says, who are you? You came suddenly. He says, Raja kahe ami tomar dasera anudas bhrittera bhrityakara eimoraj. Actually, I am servant of your servants, and please make me servant of your servant. That is only my request. He did not say I am Prataparudra. He did not say I am that person who facilitated 200 Vaishnavas. He did not say, oh, बेटे को आपने आलिंगन किया ना, उसका बाप हूं मैं. See, this is the sweetness of Prataparudra Maharaj and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he hears that this king in the morning had taken that broom and he has such a sweet mood, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is mentioned, he showed to Prataparudra Maharaj some of his divine opulences. What those opulences are, we don't know, but he showed him divine opulences and he told Prataparudra Maharaj, never ever speak about this to anybody. And Prataparudra Maharaj, he bowed his hands, he offered obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he came out and he offered prayers to every single devotee again. So we saw in this whole story how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's first request was rejected. The second letter, which was forwarded and Sri Nityanand Prabhu intervened, the garment, the outer vastra was given. The third time, when Ramananda Ray, he went, then he also praised Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in front of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That time also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not agree. Finally, the prince got mercy. And the fifth time, there is one thing that in the dancing, that slapping incident happened. After some time, Nityanand Prabhu was also busy somewhere and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down. And Prataparudra Maharaj happened to be there. And Prataparudra Maharaj picked up Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he opened his eyes and saw Prataparudra Maharaj. He said, "Chi, how pitiful it is that I have been touched by the king." And Prataparudra Maharaj was so shocked when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, ऐसे बोला, छोड़ दो मुझे. I've been touched by a materialist. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was nearby. Sarvabhauma, don't worry. Milega, kripa, milega. Right? So 5 times we see how Prataparudra Maharaj was rejected. But, right consciousness, and that right consciousness does not just stay inside, but that right consciousness also is reflected in the right behavior. Sometimes some of us, we claim that we have the right consciousness, but our behavior is not right. And when somebody says, how can you behave like this? And we say, मेरे मन में कुछ नहीं था. मेरे मन अच्छा ही था, लेकिन वो गलती से ऐसे हो गया. But Prataparudra Maharaj has the right consciousness also, and it is reflected in his right behavior also. And another hope for all of us is, if Jagai Madhai got mercy from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Nityanand Prabhu said, if I have done any good thing in my life, please forgive Jagai and Madhai. That same Nityanand Prabhu, Ramananda Ray, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they pleaded on behalf of Prataparudra Maharaj. So somebody like Prataparudra Maharaj, who was rejected 5 times, also received the mercy of the Lord. So all of us have some hope that we are lower than Jagai Madhai, and we may be more Vishayi than Prataparudra Maharaj. But if we continue to take association of those who are dear to the Supreme Lord, then there is a hope. There will be ups and downs, but we should never have any competitive spirit. And we should always be in a mood to facilitate other devotees to come closer to Krishna. In this way, one day, hum honge kamyab. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will also have mercy on us. So these are a few thoughts regarding Gaur Purnima that is coming. We can all pray to Prataparudra Maharaj today. After that, he received so much mercy from the Lord. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. HariBol. Jai Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So now we'll have Kirtan to celebrate the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I request everyone to kindly participate in this Kirtan. Hare Krishna.